Students, we are talking about the qualities and characteristics of professional social workers. So we see that optimism, a very significant characteristic which should be acquired by a professional social worker. And in order to influence and motivate others, the worker must believe in change and development. And first of all, must be herself or himself self motivated. This can be realized by maintaining a positive view of life, maintaining a brighter side of the situation. A person who revels in the negative aspects of life will have difficulty serving as an instrument of growth for others. And most of the time, the social worker is dealing with tense, stressful, and painful conditions of the client. But worker should not leave hope. And this involves an optimistic belief and the ability to convert obstacles into the positive opportunities for the client. And another quality, which is again very important for a social worker, is the quality of enthusiasm. In order for intervention, in order to initiate any intervention, attempts to be regarded as credible, the social worker must be enthusiastic. This involves an intense interest, desire, and bubbly zeal. This is usually accompanied by a sense of humor that is both contagious and motivating. Social workers should be energetic, full of potential, and with high zeal and zest uh, while dealing with the stressful, miserable conditions of the client, of the groups, and providing a solution to any social problem. The social work practitioner should be very enthusiastic to keep the moral of the client high as well. Then the worker should have the ability of spontaneity. The social worker should also display human feelings. The application of techniques, approaches, and principles of social work doesn't mean being rigid and artificial and snob in his or her attitude manifestation. Unforced and unplanned expressions of feelings in the course of natural exchanges is therefore sometimes necessary to motivate change, growth, and development, and to bring positive change in the behavior patterns of the client and the growth and development from group to community level. The social practitioner should acquire a natural way to respond to his environment in which he or she, as a social practitioner, is trying to facilitate their clientele. Social workers should have also the quality and the characteristics of goodwill. Involvement in other people's problems and needs should not be out of a sense of duty. The relationship with clients should be sincere and radiate warmth. If this is expressed both verbally and non verbally, then it ought to be easy to connect with people. So, a social work practitioner must have goodwill for their client. A social worker should be very open hearted. The social worker ought not to be reticent with the client system as this can hamper trust in the worker. It involves the worker knowing how to reveal him or herself and how to be a familiar person without contributing to the discomfort of the client system. The worker should tolerate the other opinion, welcoming to the new ideas, opinions, and in any situation, the worker must be open hearted to accept the client as a individual and as a whole entity. There should be a strong quality of sincerity on the part of the social work practitioner. In order to be regarded by the client system as credible, the social worker should be honest in his or her actions and motives. This requires sincerity in the way in which the worker expresses himself or herself so that there is a uniformity between the behavior, words, and attitudes. Workers' professional obligation is to put all the efforts to resolve the client's problems with the whole sincerity on his or her personal and professional level. Um, the most important, a very significant quality which a social work practitioner should acquire is the quality of creativity. In social work, it is frequently necessary to create something from nothing, to create something even from nothing, to create encouraging from discouraging, light from the darkness, or to change and develop things. Social worker must be creative. This requires being original in the course of the intervention process, and in particular, the ability to present the abstract in a concrete, clear manner, in a solid manner. Even the social workers must have the ability to present the vague and abstract social phenomena. The social workers must be adaptable. Social work has to do with attempting to bring about change. For that reason, the worker ought to be able to adapt himself or herself according to the changes and circumstances. This implies an easy transition from one person and situation to another person or to another situation. Discretion is another important quality and characteristic of social work practitioner. Um, Actually, the nature of social work requires of the worker to continuously make judgments in accordance with accurate and objective insights. A social work practitioner has to be very objective and accurate in assessing and measuring any social situation, any social reality. And this involves choices and decision making regarding ethical issues, strategies, processes in when they are going while adopting in social work intervention. Social worker must be energetic. This is a very positive quality which must be acquired by the professional social worker. The dynamics of social work requires of the worker to be vigorous, reflecting his her energy. This means the worker's energy is required to initiate change and development, and correspondingly will determine to a large extent the energy that the client system will need to invest in change and development. A social work practitioner must have a strong leadership potential. Social work requires of the worker to provide continuous leadership. The worker must be able to utilize his or her leadership potential in all the situations and on all levels to influence people as to the benefits of intervention. This includes, amongst other, fulfilling a variety of intervention uh, role.